At a billionaire gala shining with power and pride, an old tycoon laughed as security surrounded a black woman standing at the entrance. "She's not on the guest list," he sneered. "Probably someone's assistant." Cameras flashed. Laughter rippled through the hall. The woman said nothing. She simply gave him one calm, steady look that froze him mid-sentence. Minutes later, his phone buzzed. The deal that built his empire was gone. Every screen in the ballroom lit up with the same alert. $1.8 billion contract terminated. The woman he mocked wasn't there to get in. She owned the company he was begging to save. The ballroom of the Aurora Grand Hotel sparkled with chandeliers that dripped light like melted gold. Power filled the air, men and women in tailored suits, smiles rehearsed to perfection. Every handshake carried a message. Every laugh was measured in profit. At the center of it all stood Eleanor Voss, the 76-year-old billionaire who had built half the city and acted like she owned the rest. Tonight was meant to honor her the renewal of a $1.8 billion partnership with Apex Dynamics. The press was there. Cameras were rolling. Every chair in the room waited for one thing, her signature. But before the speeches began, something shifted. The air grew still as a woman entered, calm, confident, and alone. No entourage, no noise. Her name was Dr. Naomi Carter, CEO of Apex Dynamics. She walked straight to Eleanor and extended her hand politely. "Miss Voss," she said softly, "thank you for hosting us." Eleanor looked at the hand but didn't move. A smirk crept across her lips. "You're with catering?" she asked. A few guests chuckled. Cameras captured it all. Naomi didn't flinch. "No, ma'am," she said quietly. "I'm with Apex Dynamics." The laughter grew louder. Eleanor turned to her CFO and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "She's the representative? This is who they send now, diversity points." A hush swept across the room. Naomi's hand was still out, steady. Eleanor leaned closer and said clearly, her words cutting through the silence, "I don't shake hands with people like you." Gasps filled the room. Then came a deep, heavy silence that lasted too long. Naomi slowly lowered her hand. The cameras stayed on her. The press didn't even breathe. "Understood," she said softly. Eleanor let out a brittle laugh, the kind that comes from people who think they're untouchable. "We'll begin when I say so," she snapped, signaling to security. "Escort this woman to the lobby until I confirm she belongs here." Two guards stepped forward. The crowd quietly parted. Naomi didn't resist. She calmly reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, and made one simple call. "Confirm execution of Clause 41, she said gently. "Effective immediately." Then she turned off her phone, looked at Eleanor, and said, "Please continue your celebration." The guards hesitated, unsure now. Eleanor waved them off impatiently. "Let her stay," she said with a smug smile. "She'll want to see how power really works." The orchestra started playing again. Champagne flowed. Speeches resumed. But 10 minutes later, a strange vibration ran through the room. It started with one notification, then another, then dozens. Guests began checking their phones, faces shifting from confusion to panic. Eleanor's CFO stood up, pale. "Miss Voss," he whispered urgently, "we have a serious problem." "What problem?" she demanded. "Apex has—" he swallowed hard. "Apex has terminated the entire contract." Eleanor laughed sharply. "Don't be ridiculous." He handed her his phone. Her face drained of color as she read the message. "Funding withdrawal notice $1.8 billion. Effective immediately." "What the hell is this?" she hissed. "Call them. Fix it." Her CFO was already dialing, hands trembling. Across the room, journalists checked their inboxes. The story broke before the wine had even dried on the tables. Naomi sat quietly, watching as panic spread like fire through velvet. Phones lit up. Screens flashed headlines. Apex Dynamics withdraws $1 8B deal from Voss Group amid discrimination allegations. Reporters ran for the exits. Executives whispered. Investors called their lawyers. Eleanor turned to Naomi, her voice shaking now. "You can't do this. We're partners." Naomi stood. Her voice was calm, precise. "You mistook partnership for privilege." "Please," Eleanor said, her voice cracking. "Don't destroy my company over a misunderstanding." Naomi looked at her evenly. "A misunderstanding is when someone forgets your name," she said quietly. "This was a reminder of mine." Eleanor's breathing grew uneven. "We can talk. I'll apologize publicly." Naomi shook her head. "I'm not interested in apologies. I'm interested in accountability." Cameras swarmed. Microphones hovered. The same people who once adored Eleanor now watched her crumble beneath her own arrogance. Naomi turned to the reporters. Her tone was firm but composed. "For clarity," she said, "this clause was added after past concerns about workplace discrimination. It allows immediate contract termination if bias is proven during partnership discussions. Tonight, it was proven on record, on camera, and witnessed by everyone here." The room erupted into chaos. Security struggled to control the press. Eleanor stood frozen, speechless. Naomi gathered her folder and prepared to leave. Before walking away, she stopped beside Eleanor and said quietly, her words echoing through every microphone, "You built a fortune on disrespect. Consider this your final return on investment." Then she turned and walked out past the stunned guests, the clicking cameras, and through the tall double doors. By midnight, the story had gone global. News outlets everywhere carried the headline. Voss Group stock down 42%. Banks freeze assets. Employees flee. The empire that took 50 years to build collapsed in 6 hours. The next morning, Eleanor appeared in a tearful video, calling it all a misunderstanding. But it was too late, too perfect, too fake. The clip of her saying, "I don't shake hands with people like you," looped endlessly across social media. 10 seconds of arrogance that destroyed everything. By the end of the week, the board forced her to resign. Her mansion gates stayed closed. The same journalists who once praised her now called her downfall the price of arrogance. Naomi, on the other hand, said nothing. No interviews, no press appearances, just one simple statement from Apex Dynamics. "Is greater than effective immediately. $400 million will be redirected to the Carter Equity Initiative, supporting women of color entrepreneurs worldwide." That one sentence became the new headline. For Eleanor Voss, it marked the end of her reign. For everyone watching, it marked the beginning of something new. Because in a world obsessed with power, that night revealed one timeless truth. Respect isn't a gesture, it's a foundation. And when arrogance forgets that, empires collapse quietly in the same hands that refuse to shake another's. If you believe respect can't be bought, prove it. Like this video, share it everywhere, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what moment touched you the most. Subscribe today and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that expose arrogance and celebrate unstoppable dignity.